Good afternoon, St. Pius. It's Mrs. Timothy. I have my very tall son videographing, whatever you want to call it, the art activity today. This is art activity number 11. And what I saw today on Facebook, I believe it was today or yesterday, was Mrs. Doyle posted a message saying that she missed her students. And I believe she does. That is what she lives to do, is to be with her students. And those of you that are too young to know Mrs. Doyle, she's a 7th grade teacher and she's wonderful. And she's in charge of the science lab. So if Mrs. Doyle is missing her students, I thought maybe her students are missing the science lab. Can you imagine that? And all the test tubes and everything you get to experiment with, right? So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a pattern of test tubes from a science lab, right? So if you look up test tubes or glass beakers on your electronics, you'll start coming up with these beautiful, gorgeous pictures. Can you see it? Is there glare?
You're good.
What?
You're good.
Okay. These gorgeous pictures of colored glass beakers, right? Lots of different shapes, all right? And of course it looks wonderful because all these colors. So I thought it would be fun to do a pattern of these. And I'll show you what I did really quick for my first one. I took my piece of paper. I drew 3 lines to make sure that my rows were going to be lined up correctly. They're, if you can't see them, but there are light pencil lines going across to make sure that my beakers are in nice rows, all right? And then I started looking at the shapes of beakers and just started drawing them, each one of them. And then I started making up some shapes of beakers because why not? And if you cannot figure out which shapes I made up, it would be this one and this one, because why in the world would scientists want a beaker shaped like that, right? But they're just fun. It's fun, and they were fun to do. And then to use my markers to put the colors on. And then if you were to carry this on and keep making more and more, like you could even take the paper that you've already done, put another paper over top, and start tracing what you've already done. All right. And you would make a whole nother sheet of beakers that of course you can color in completely differently, make bubbles coming out of them. I think it would be fun to think to yourself what could be inside the beakers. Like, and this could be fun, this is for fun. Like, what if you had little skulls inside your beaker, right? Think Halloween, little skulls, right? What else could be put inside a beaker? That would be fun, like you'd see on cartoons maybe even, all right? Polka dots. Little plants maybe, or put some vegetables inside a beaker, right? Just to start, you know, going from, I'm repeating this pattern over and over again, Mrs. Timothy, and now I'm getting bored to death. And this is where you go, well, what would make this more fun? Having the different colors, having different things inside the beakers or coming up out of the beakers. Maybe you have a fire underneath one of the beakers. All right, please do not tell Mrs. Doyle that I told you to set fire to one of the beakers. All right, so this is doing a pattern over and over again. And you've seen patterns like this. You've seen them like on book bags, on wallpaper, on notebooks. This is the kind of thing that you would see on notebooks. Oh, these patterns are created by people, and this is how they would start to do them. This is the thought process. Then maybe you would decide to draw them really big. So we're going to draw really big beakers here on this piece of paper. All right. Very large beakers. All right. And let's put the color in there. I have a very wet. I'm going to put some liquid in here. That's a very wet marker. All right. And I'm going to put some color in the other one. Remember, you don't have to color them all the way in from top to bottom. It doesn't have to be a perfect field of color, but that does look nice, doesn't it? I mean, it's a perfect field of color. Okay, put some color in. And now, this is where you can start to experiment. All right. You might need some protective equipment. All right. For your supplies, I asked you to gather miscellaneous things from around the house. So what you can do is pretend to put these miscellaneous things into your beakers. Like, I had like eyeballs. You put them in, because if I was a scientific witch, maybe I'd have eyeballs in my beakers, right? You could have buttons coming up as bubbles instead of actual bubbles. You could put buttons on there. If you have cotton balls, I don't have cotton balls, but I have these cotton pads that I can still pull the cotton out of. You can take the cotton balls and put them on your paper like it's the steam, like bubbling over, right? Coming up out of your beaker. Q-tip. Your Q-tip could be like mixing your beaker. If you have it in there, you could tape it down, and then don't forget, you tape it down and then draw the line back onto the beaker to make it actually look like it's sitting in the beaker, right? I have all sorts of odds and ends. I have a paper clip. Like, what if you thought maybe there's a paper clip on the side of the beaker, and instead of drawing the paper clip on, you could just tape the paper clip on. This is where you can have fun and experiment with all these little things that you have around the house and see what you can come up with inside of your beakers. Have a wonderful day. I heard thunder out there a short while ago. Oh, and it's raining. So maybe tomorrow we can go outside. All right. Bye, St. Pius.